Los Angeles, 2013. A young woman enters an elevator, presses several buttons, and begins acting strangely. She hides, she gestures, she steps out, and then she's gone. That elevator video would soon become one of the most viewed mysteries in internet history. The woman's name was Eliza Lam, and her story is not just strange, it's terrifying. But what if the elevator wasn't the start of the mystery? What if it was a warning? Los Angeles, January 2013. A young student from Vancouver, Canada, Eliza Lam, arrived in California alone. She was 21, bright, curious, and loved to write about her travels online. She wanted adventure, but instead, she found herself drawn to a place with a dark history. The Cecil Hotel. For decades, the Cecil had been home to strange deaths, suicides, and violent crimes. Locals whispered that it was cursed, but Eliza didn't know all that. She checked in. 5:06. She posted cheerful updates on her blog. She took photos. She wrote about meeting new people. But within days, her posts began to change. She wrote that she was scared, that someone was following her. Guests later reported hearing strange noises from her room, footsteps pacing at odd hours, whispers through the vents. The hotel's staff said Eliza seemed different, sometimes cheerful, sometimes silent and distant. And then she vanished. Her last known sighting was on camera. February 1st, 2013. Security cameras at the Cecil Hotel captured something strange, footage that would soon terrify millions. At first, it looked like a normal recording. A girl enters the elevator. It's Eliza Lam. She presses several buttons, waits, but the elevator doesn't move. Eliza peeks out cautiously into the hallway, then hides, as if someone's there. She presses herself against the wall, moves strangely, steps forward, then back again. Her hands move in odd, erratic patterns, as if she's talking to someone we can't see. For minutes, she moves in and out of the elevator. No one appears. No sound is heard. The elevator doors stay open, far longer than they should. Then suddenly, Eliza steps out of frame. The doors close, and the video ends. When the LAPD released this footage to the public, it spread across the internet overnight. Millions watched it, again and again. People slowed it down. They enhanced the footage. Some said she was hiding from a pursuer. Others claimed she was possessed. Experts noticed something else. The elevator buttons seemed to respond too slowly, as if time itself was distorted. Some viewers even claimed to see a second shadow, right behind her. Others swore her reflection didn't match her movements. The internet called it the most disturbing elevator footage ever, because nothing about it made sense. She entered the elevator alive, but after this video, no one ever saw her again. The question remains, who or what was she running from? Days passed. Eliza Lam was nowhere to be found. Her parents in Canada grew desperate. When she stopped replying to messages, they reported her missing. the Los Angeles Police Department launched an official search. They combed the Cecil Hotel, floor by floor, room by room. Dogs were brought in, cameras reviewed. But Eliza was gone, as if she had vanished into thin air. Detectives began interviewing hotel staff. Housekeepers said they saw Eliza alive, just days before she disappeared. One of them recalled her strange behavior, talking to herself, laughing suddenly, as if someone invisible was with her. But the most haunting detail? Her room key still worked, yet she was nowhere inside. Days turned into weeks. Guests began to complain about something else. A strange taste in the tap water. One woman said the water pressure was weak, and it had a foul smell. Maintenance staff were sent to the rooftop, where the hotel's massive water tank stood. They opened the hatch, and what they saw froze them to the core. Inside one of the tanks floated the body of Eliza Lam. Her clothes were found beside her. The hatch was sealed from the outside. No one could explain how she got there. The only way to reach the tank was through a locked rooftop door, triggering an alarm that never went off. The official cause of death was drowning, but the circumstances were impossible to ignore. Her body was in the water tank for 19 days. Every guest in the hotel had used that water, drank it, bathed in it. Online, the mystery exploded. Was it an accident? A cover-up? Or something darker, hiding in that building? Investigators studied the elevator video again, frame by frame. They noticed timestamps skipped. Moments were missing. Had someone edited the footage? Some say she was running from someone in the hotel. Others say she wasn't running from anyone at all. Whatever the truth, it was buried beneath those waters, along with Eliza Lam's final secret. But the story didn't end with her death. The Cecil Hotel stands in downtown Los Angeles, built in 1927 as a monument to glamour and ambition. It was meant to be a palace for travelers, but soon after it opened, the world changed. The Great Depression hit. The wealthy guests vanished, and the Cecil became something else. It turned into a place for the lost, runaways, addicts, criminals, and the desperate. Over the decades, its walls absorbed countless tragedies. Guests leapt from upper floors, murders, suicides, stories that blurred into urban legend. The hotel became known by another name, the Suicide Hotel. But the darkness didn't stop there. It attracted something worse. In 1985, one of America's most notorious serial killers, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, lived on the top floor. He would return after his murders, covered in blood, walk through the lobby unnoticed, and dump his clothes in the back alley. Just a few years later, another killer, Jack Unterweger, also made the Cecil his home. He was a writer, covering crime stories. But at night, he became the monster he wrote about. Police later found that he had murdered women across Los Angeles, all while staying in the same building where Ramirez once slept. Even before these killers, the hotel's curse had begun. In 1962, a woman named Pauline Otten leapt from her 9th floor window after arguing with her husband. She landed on a pedestrian below. Both died instantly. And in 1964, a woman known only as Pigeon Goldie, a kind resident who fed the birds daily, was found brutally murdered in her room. The case remains unsolved. The hotel became a magnet for darkness, for reasons no one could explain. Some say it's just coincidence, a place cheap enough to attract tragedy. Others believe the Cecil is cursed, that its walls feed on misery. When Eliza Lam checked in, she didn't know its history. Didn't know the building's ghosts. Didn't know the shadows that had already chosen her. By the time she stepped into that elevator, she had already stepped into the hotel's story. Every tragedy in that hotel built upon the last. Layer by layer. Decade by decade. Until it became more than a building. It became a presence. So when you walk past the Cecil Hotel today, you're not just passing bricks and glass. You're passing every lost soul that ever checked in and never left. But some say Eliza's story didn't end on that rooftop. After Eliza Lam's body was found in the rooftop water tank of the Cecil Hotel, the world demanded answers. Police offered no clear explanation. Her family was devastated, and the internet began to investigate. There were hundreds of theories, some scientific, some logical, some otherworldly. Eliza Lam had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Her family confirmed she was on medication, but had a history of skipping doses. In her final days, guests reported her acting strangely. She would talk to herself, hide behind walls, and sometimes appear frightened. Doctors believe her death could have been caused by a psychotic episode, a delusion. She may have believed she was being chased. She ran to the rooftop, found the water tanks, and accidentally fell in. But here's the problem. The rooftop was locked. Access required a key, and the water tank's lid was heavy. Too heavy for one person to close from the inside. So, how did she get up there? And who closed the lid? Some believe Eliza Lam was murdered. Perhaps by a hotel employee, or by someone she met that night. Investigators found no sign of struggle, no bruises, no DNA under her nails. But there was one detail everyone noticed: the elevator footage. She presses all the buttons, peers out nervously, then hides in the corner, as if someone's there. The door doesn't close for nearly 2 minutes, far longer than usual. Was someone holding it open? And then she begins to gesture, as if talking to someone of some Some say the video was edited, that frames were missing, perhaps to hide a figure beside her. But the LAPD denied any tampering. No one else was ever seen on that floor. Soon, an internet rumor began to spread that Eliza Lam was playing the elevator game. This ritual, originating in Korea, supposedly opens a doorway to another dimension. The rules are specific: pressing certain floors in sequence, never stepping out at the wrong time. They say, if you succeed, you'll meet the other woman, a ghostly figure who appears when the doors open. And if you talk to her, you'll never leave. Some believe Eliza accidentally played this ritual and crossed into a world she couldn't escape. Of course, skeptics laugh at this theory. But the elevator footage doesn't make it easy to ignore. Days after her death, an eerie coincidence surfaced. There was a tuberculosis outbreak near the Cecil Hotel, and the test used to diagnose it was named Lam Eliza. Same letters, same order. An impossible coincidence? Some online theorists claimed she was part of a government experiment gone wrong, that she was silenced. There's no evidence to support this. But the coincidence fueled endless conspiracies. And then, there's the one theory no one can prove, but no one can deny either. The Cecil Hotel's history of death and darkness stretches back almost a century. Every tragedy seems to echo the one before. People say it feeds on energy, that it attracts those who are lost, pulling them in like moths to a flame. Eliza Lam may have simply been the next one called. Every camera, every corridor, every dark corner seems to whisper the same thing. She didn't find the hotel. The hotel found her. But one question remains. Did the truth die with her? February 19th, 2013. 20 days after Eliza Lam went missing, a hotel maintenance worker climbed to the roof. He opened one of the massive water tanks and froze. Eliza Lam's body floated silently inside, face up, naked, alone. Hotel guests had been complaining for days. The water tasted strange. The pressure was low. The color, dark. Now, everyone knew why. The Los Angeles Fire Department drained the tank. Police cordoned off the roof, and the world began asking questions. Detectives examined every floor, every hallway, every camera. They confirmed there were no signs of foul play, no broken locks, no footprints on the roof. An autopsy found no traces of drugs or alcohol. Her toxicology report showed only small traces of her prescription medication. She wasn't attacked. She wasn't poisoned. She simply vanished and drowned. But then came the question everyone feared. How did she get there? Hotel staff swore the rooftop door was locked. The alarm would have gone off if anyone entered. Yet, Eliza left no trace of how she reached the top. The media exploded with the story. College student found in hotel tank. Was she murdered? Is the hotel haunted? Every news outlet wanted a theory. Every headline wanted fear. TV turned tragedy into spectacle, and the Cecil Hotel became a tourist attraction overnight. Guests booked rooms just to feel the energy. Ghost hunters streamed live investigations, and YouTubers made theories go viral. Some came to mourn, others came for clicks. On Reddit and YouTube, millions began analyzing the elevator video frame by frame. They drew maps of the hotel, calculated the timing of the elevator doors, even translated her gestures, trying to decode a hidden message. But the deeper people looked, the less they found. Online detectives found coincidences everywhere. Names, codes, numbers that seemed meaningful but led nowhere. They didn't solve the mystery. They became part of it. Eliza's story had escaped reality. It wasn't just a case anymore. It was a ghost story, reborn through the internet. For Eliza's family, the internet's obsession was unbearable. Strangers were rewriting her daughter's final days. They wanted peace. Instead, they got millions of theories. She was human. She was 21 years old. She wrote about loneliness, depression, and hope. She loved books. She dreamed of helping others. And yet, the world only remembered her death. Sometimes, the scariest part of a mystery isn't the unknown. It's how quickly the world forgets the person behind it. Before Eliza Lam ever set foot in the Cecil Hotel, the building already had a reputation, one soaked in tragedy. In 1924, the Cecil Hotel opened its doors in downtown Los Angeles, built to be a luxurious destination for travelers and businessmen. But just 5 years later, the Great Depression hit, and the Cecil began to change. The rich clientele disappeared. In their place came the lost, the broken, and the desperate. By the 1930s, the Cecil wasn't a glamorous hotel anymore. It was a graveyard of souls between the 1930s and the 1960s. At least 16 confirmed deaths occurred within these walls. Guests jumped from windows. Some swallowed poison. Others simply vanished. But the Cecil's story got even darker. Two of America's most infamous serial killers, Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger, both lived here. Ramirez, during his killing spree in 1985, would come back to the Cecil after every murder. He'd throw his bloody clothes in the dumpster and walk barefoot up the stairs, completely unseen. And in the early 1990s, Jack Unterweger, a journalist turned killer, stayed here, writing about crime, while committing his own. The walls of the Cecil have heard screams. They've soaked in fear. They've been home to death for nearly a century. Locals began to say the hotel was cursed, that something dark lived in the foundation, feeding on tragedy. Each death added another layer of pain. Each scream echoed in its walls, until the building itself became alive. Some called it coincidence. Others called it karma. But then came Eliza Lam. She arrived at the Cecil unaware of its history, unaware of its whispers, unaware that her fate would be sealed the moment she checked in. Some paranormal researchers believe Eliza was drawn there, as if the hotel called her. Everything about her case mirrored the hotel's history. Isolation, madness, and water. In 1947, a woman named Elizabeth Short, later known as the Black Dahlia, was seen drinking in the Cecil's bar days before her murder. In 1962, a woman jumped from her 9th floor window and landed on a pedestrian below, killing them both instantly. And decades later, Eliza Lam, the 21-year-old student, would vanish inside that same building, without a sound. Coincidences stacked like dominoes. Same hallways, same endings, same silence. Even after all the deaths, the Cecil never closed for long. It kept changing names, hoping to outrun its past. But no matter what they called it, the darkness always came back. In 2017, the building shut down for renovations, but locals say strange lights still flicker from the windows at night. People walking by say they sometimes hear elevator bell. No one's inside. Eliza Lam's death wasn't the first mystery inside the Cecil. And maybe it won't be the last, because some places don't just hold memories, they hold souls. Eliza Lam, a 21-year-old student from Vancouver, vanished inside the Cecil Hotel in 2013. Weeks later, her body was found in a rooftop water tank. But the truth remains divided. Was it an accident, a cover-up, or something that science still can't explain? Eliza Lam had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. Her Tumblr posts revealed a soul full of emotion, poetic, curious, sometimes fragile. In her last posts, she wrote about feeling lost, about searching for herself. Many psychologists believe her disappearance was the result of a manic episode, a moment when her mind blurred the line between reality and illusion. It could explain her erratic movements in the elevator, the gestures, the fear, the invisible presence she seemed to hide from. But even if mental illness explains what happened, it doesn't explain why it happened there. Police reports revealed inconsistencies. The elevator video, for instance, had parts cut out. 30 seconds of footage seemed to vanish. Why? Authorities said it was a technical glitch, but others weren't so sure. Hotel staff claimed the rooftop door was alarmed and locked. Yet, Eliza somehow reached the tanks. No footprints. No alarm logs. How did she get up there? And here's the most disturbing part. For days, guests drank and showered in that same water. When the smell turned strange, a maintenance worker climbed the tank and found her. Some say it wasn't just coincidence. That the Cecil Hotel itself has a presence, a consciousness. Paranormal investigators claim her death mirrors the hotel's energy. Chaos, death, despair. EVP recorders captured whispers, and unexplained cold spots appeared in room 412, where she stayed. And then there's the elevator. Experts noticed that it behaved as if someone pressed the hold button, keeping it open far too long. Some believe Eliza was being followed. That someone, or something, stood just beyond the camera's view. And here's where things turn darker. Just months before her death, a film called Dark Water was released in Japan. Its plot? A girl found dead in a rooftop water tank of an old apartment building. Coincidence? Or prophecy? The internet turned Eliza's tragedy into a digital mystery. Thousands dissected her elevator video frame by frame, searching for hidden messages. Some said she was signaling to someone in Morse code. Others believed she was playing a Korean elevator game. A ritual meant to open a portal to another world. But in the end, all theories lead back to one question. Why there? The official cause of death: accidental drowning due to mental illness. But truth is rarely so simple. Eliza Lam's story isn't just about death. It's about fear, loneliness, and the human mind. And how even in a city full of light, darkness can find you. Some see her as a victim of circumstance. Others, a spirit bound to a cursed place. But maybe she's both. Because the Cecil Hotel isn't just a building, it's a mirror. And when you stare too long into it, it stares back. Eliza Lam's mystery may never be solved. But one thing's certain: the Cecil will never sleep again. Do you believe Eliza Lam's death was an accident or something supernatural?